I'm Hara, Allison, and this is Dream Anyway, a podcast for those of us who feel the pull to create, even when the path isn't clear. So wherever you are in your journey, grab a coffee, get comfy, and dream anyway.
Hi, Dream Anyway. I'm Christine. I'm the owner and CEO of Posted Consulting, a public relations agency in Spokane, Washington. And we work with small business owners, entrepreneurs, movers and shakers in the Spokane Coeur d'Alene area to help them connect with the community. And by all means, it is my dream.
How do you connect them with the community?
We help people connect with the community in all sorts of different ways, from content to PR events to finding different ways to collaborate with other businesses and creatives in the community. We like to think of what we do in the community as strengthening an ecosystem that already exists. And part of what helps that is just connecting people to each other and getting these cool ideas and projects in place to flourish.
Mm. And how long have you been doing this?
I've been in marketing since about 2012. And then in 2019 was when I officially got into public relations.
Is this your end goal, or is there something bigger?
I mean, I've always been the person that, like, when I was a kid, you'd ask me what I want to be when I grow up, and I'd tell you I want to do everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in some ways, this business, Posted Consulting, has allowed me to do just about everything in a lot of different ways and work with a lot of different industries and learn about a ton of different people. And in a way, this is kind of my way of being able to do everything. And
yeah,
it is my dream. And then also the other side of it, of the day to day of working with small business owners and creatives and all of that, that's what sets my soul on fire. So yeah, it's my dream.
Do you have a favorite part?
I love the moment when we are in a campaign and they see the magic start to work. They see all of a sudden they're getting published in the news when prior to that, they didn't think that was ever going to be an option for them, or they have their first video hit 1,000 views. I've seen that milestone for so many people. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, now we're at 10,000 views. That's kind of my favorite part, is like that magical moment when like all of a sudden you start seeing them dream a little bigger too.
Oh, that's good.
I got to say, that's one of the things that I really love about Dream Studio is how you've been able to give people a platform to dream bigger and kind of start building out this like vision for themselves. This is kind of a cool one-stop shop for people to be able to come in and produce like the vision that they're going to be setting out into the world. So,
I've had a couple of events where creative meetups, and there was one time where I had photographers and models. I just had an open house, and for 6 hours, it was busy the entire time. There was always a photographer and always a model, and it wasn't organized, but it was perfect. But like the creative meetup that we've had, and there's been some other events where people have really met each other and gone on to do things together, collaborate together. I feel so excited that I'm building a community. That is definitely a dream of mine.
Oh, 100%. And it's so nice too when you meet somebody and you're like, oh my gosh, I love hearing their vision and I love hearing their dream. And then you know somebody else in the community who has a similar goal or a similar path that you can connect them and just see them work together and create that kind of synergy. I love that.
I know a couple models that have become friends because they shot here together and stuff. Anyway, it's been really fun. You have a team of people helping you?
I do. My team they're the best. Not going to cry, but they're amazing. We have Haley LaRosa. Haley is also the owner of Visionary Vault. She is a wildly multi-talented creative who is incredible at photography and content creation. She has a brilliant mind for events and collaborations. And so she has been really helpful as well with coming up with top level strategy when it comes to client campaigns and client events. And then we also have Faith, and she is helping us with both content creation and a little bit of PR. She was working at KHQ prior. Faith helps us out with PR and stuff. So she does a lot of like the traditional media relations, and we are starting to build her out a little bit more with her influencer connections in town. So it's been really fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Hector, aka Zeroni, and he is an incredibly talented photographer. And so he's helped out with planning out shoots and doing the photography and the editing. And making sure that our shoots are top notch. And then we have Molly Sainsbury, and she helps us out with content. And then she also helps us out with events and then day-to-day work. And then we have Joey, who is kind of one of our newer additions to the team. And Joey is a videographer. He is super talented with video and drone work. And the stuff that he's been showing us so far is just incredible.
That's really exciting because you've gone from the idea of it to all these people helping you. How does it feel?
Oh my gosh, so good. When you run a business by yourself and, it's a lot of day to day of like waking up and doing the emails and then doing the content and then putting everything together. And, you're not just the person doing the business, but you're also the person running the business. And it feels like, there's two wolves inside of you, the one who's running the business and the one who has to like actually work the business. And so being able to like bring in these other people and bring in these other perspectives too, that has been so nice. Some of the things that I might have been a blind spot for me, Haley or Hector, they're the first ones to put up their hand and say, hey, have you thought about this? And it's so nice. And I couldn't be more thankful for these people. They're just incredible. When you're working with other people and you come up with an idea or you have a shoot that you're working on, you're like, we need to come up with some ideas, and everyone starts coming up with stuff and throwing ideas out there. And then we start riffing on it and being like, well, hey, how can we do this? Or what if we bring in this? Or what if we expand this and bring in these community collaborators? Oh, I know someone who does this. They want to do this. Maybe we could change it to do this. It's just so fun. It's great being able to work with a team.
Is this at all true for you? What if you have all these ideas and you still like your original one? Are you the last word in it? Are you like, that sounds great, but I still want to do it the way I suggested? Has that ever happened? That's what I'm worried about, is that I want the collaboration, but then I'll be like, I like my idea best.
No, I totally get that. I remember back in like college, one of my design professors, he said that coming up with ideas is like pancakes. The first one's a throwaway. Mm-hmm. Sometimes the first idea you come up with is the one that sets your soul on fire, that gets you so excited, right? And so it can be really hard to just be like, oh, there's all these other good ideas. And I'm like, these are like 7s. And my like first idea was a 10. So, but being able to bring in those other perspectives, maybe it's, nice to kind of bring those in and tweak that original idea, or figure out like, hey, how can we poke holes in this original idea to make it stronger? When it comes to like collaborations like that, and there are people who see things differently, it's like in your head, you can think of a car, but the car that you think of might be different than the car I think of. We're still going to think of a car to get us from one destination to the other, but I might be thinking of a red sedan and you might be thinking of a blue truck.
I'm not thinking of a blue truck, but go ahead. No,
right.
It is a bougie car, whatever it is.
Yeah, I love that. When you are collaborating with other people, sometimes it's easier to, instead of saying, no, you're wrong because you're thinking of a different car than I am, describe the car in like full detail and why are you thinking of the car like that?
Everything changes so quickly. I really am genuinely asking, how can there be a social media expert?
Yeah.
Because it's always changing.
When we think about building a house, right, there's different frameworks involved. You will always need to have electrical in a house. Mm-hmm. You'll always need to have a roof on it and maybe a room or two, right? And there are certain things about social media that are similar in that sense, that there's always going to be a need to be engaging and social. And those come down to human behavior. You're always going to need to capture people's attention, which again comes back to human behavior and psychology. And when you know the pattern of how it works on social media, of get people's attention in the first 3 seconds, if it's going to be longer than 10 seconds, make sure you have something in there at 7 seconds. It makes them stay those extra 3 seconds to the end. Mm-hmm. Once you kind of know the pattern, no matter what changes happen, whether they add in a new tab on Instagram or TikTok changes this, or the algorithm is doing some new thing today, right?
Yeah.
Those basic pieces of social media will still stand.
That makes sense. Yeah.
When we say expert in social media, it's more of understanding the pattern and the framework, and also understanding kind of the strategy behind it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
More so than people are saying, oh, you got to do this little thing in order to do well on social media, or 10 times your views if you do this thing. And a lot of those people will call themselves experts, but at the end of the day, those are just hacks. I feel like the real expertise comes to knowing the strategy and really understanding social media on a deeper level beyond, oh, I just need to post. I just need to do stories. I just need to do this one little hack I saw on some social media manager's profile out of California. We offer full service fulfillment inside of Posted. So we'll do everything from planning the shoots to doing them, taking all of the content, all the assets from each shoot, and creating a content calendar, working with the client to go over, hey, these are what these posts need to look like. Hey, let's edit this caption so that it matches the owner's voice a little more. We do all of that. Then we also do the posting and the engaging and monitoring it, and then also the reporting and going over it with everyone to make sure, like, hey, are we meeting our benchmarks? Is this working? How is it affecting you on the sales side? Are you actually seeing an uptick in sales? What's going on here?
Yeah, that's cool. People always say I'm good at social media, but the truth is I'm not. I post a lot, but there's no engagement. So I'm obviously not doing the pattern that you said.
When it comes to getting people to engage, there's different ways to do it. Sometimes, depending on your audience and depending on your niche, you can incentivize engagement.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's about training your audience to be more engaging. So one of the ways to do that, and it's kind of more of a marathon thing. It's not like a 9-day difference, but it's like when you do get a comment, respond to it with a question so that they, respond to your question. And now instead of only having one comment, you have 3 comments counting your own.
Right.
And so it's little things like that, kind of like let people know, like, hey, I'm also down here in the comments section. Let's talk. Let's continue the conversation. One of the things that I've seen people do as well that's been kind of cool is they will write a question that's related to their post. And people will respond to that comment, but it's a way to kind of start the conversation that people can sometimes find helpful. Another thing is also giving people guidance on what to comment about. If you're trying to get more people to comment, say, comment what your favorite XYZ is. Or
I see.
Let me know what you think about this. Is this something that you would do in your business? Let me know below. That can be helpful too, because then it gives them a guide to go off of.
You're young. You're youngish. How old are you? Do you mind me asking?
I turn 30 next week.
My daughter just turned 30 and I see you guys all cringing, but I just turned 58. I'm twice your 30. I guess 30 is a big one. I can't even remember. It's so long ago. It was so 30 years ago.
I'm actually kind of excited to turn 30. My 20s were awesome. And I think part of the reason they were so awesome was because I was running my own business and kind of got to make my own rules for a lot of it. I'm really excited for 30. I just feel like 30 is a new 20 and that there's so many like cool things that you do in your 30s. And it's just a different lifestyle. You're not necessarily in like the speed of just figuring it out as much. Like you're still figuring some things out, like obviously. But like for the most part, like you got your rhythm down, you got your pattern down, you know what's what, you have more of a clue.
It does evolve every single year.
Totally.
Clues.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Oh, that's interesting.
New clues, new problems, right?
I think the 30s were going to be great. And then you're going to say the same thing about the 40s.
Oh, probably.
And the same thing with 50s. You know, I remember somebody saying once, oh, 50s are great. And I thought, well, you have to say that. You're in your 50s. But they really are.
Yeah.
And you won't believe me till you're there. But there's just a level of less fucks given. And it's very, very nice.
Kind of excited for that part.
Yesterday, I sent a text to somebody who has been rescheduling with me since August, September.
Oh, my.
And I just said, this isn't working for me. No, thank you. It was direct. But that is the pleasure of being a 50-year-old woman and going, this isn't working for me. It wasn't even mean. I was genuine.
Yeah.
I'm not enjoying this. And so no more.
I love that.
I love that too.
At a certain point, you kind of get over writing long text messages explaining your perspective. And you just say, hey, this isn't going to work. Obviously, this isn't working on your end either. Let's connect in the future another time, but not right now.
Yeah. I had a counselor once tell me, if somebody had to wait in the waiting room,
Mm-hmm.
because I was an I'm sorry girl and explained myself. But she said, I don't say, I'm sorry, I made you wait. She says, thank you for waiting. And doesn't explain it.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't even matter what the excuse is.
Mm-hmm. Well, I do think there's always like a time and place for apologies, but
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I do think sometimes, especially with women, like we're conditioned to apologize in professional settings. And I remember I worked at an agency in Coeur d'Alene for years, and somebody told me, Christine, you don't need to apologize for this thing. It's really not that big of a deal. And I started to think about it, and I kind of asked around to some people that I trust. And I'm like, hey, what is this telling you? And they're like, it's telling me that you're not as sure in yourself when you're apologizing for everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's telling me that you're probably struggling with some imposter syndrome. And to be fair, I was. But it's also putting you in a position where you're not coming to the table equally. You're coming to the table hoping for forgiveness for being an hour late on something.
I used to apologize if I was walking by somebody, and instead of saying, excuse me, I'd say, I'm sorry. It's almost like I'm sorry for existing and taking up space. Just the changing the words makes me feel more secure and confident just by saying, excuse me, we're both walking down this path and we're going to hit each other. So I'm going to walk around you. Anyway, that's so interesting, don't you think?
Oh, 100%. I think it's absolutely fascinating. And then on that note, it's like, hey, are you trying to apologize, or do you just want them to understand that you weren't intending for this?
Right, right.
And so I found like sometimes in those communications where I feel compelled to apologize for something that really doesn't need an apology, one sentence explanation of why this was late or what was going on. Hey, thanks for waiting for me. Traffic was insane. I met every red light on the way.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I'm not saying I never explain myself. I'm just saying
Totally.
that the pressure to is not there anymore.
I love
I
that.
can decide whether it needs an explanation or not.
Yeah. And not everything does.
You'd mentioned imposter syndrome. What do you think about imposter syndrome? I went to a conference where Seth Godin was speaking,
Oh, he's cool.
and he was talking about imposter syndrome. And he was saying that if you don't have imposter syndrome, you're not trying hard enough. That imposter syndrome is what you're going for, that's what your goal is, that you're always trying something new so that, of course, you feel like an imposter.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that?
I think it's important to push yourself outside of your comfort zone. And if I were to never have pushed myself outside of my comfort zone, I would still be doing just text posts on Facebook
Mm-hmm.
or a single image and a caption text post on Facebook. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But to see what's halfway through the tunnel, or even at the end of the tunnel, of we have this beautiful business where we get to do these fun, cool, creative shoots, and we get to come up with these cool strategies and come up with these really cool launches and rollouts. I had to do all of those things for the first time at some point. You should always have first times doing stuff in your life, and you should have them throughout your life, not just your 20s. You should always be trying something new. And the level of confidence that you get in yourself after trying something new and it works is so worth every moment of doubting yourself.
So as somebody who has started her own business, has decided, I'm just going to do it and try it, is that the advice you have for somebody who might be scared, I can't do it because all the becauses?
Yeah, I would say start small, break it down into small baby steps and start moving forward, figuring out what's working on a small level and then building it out into something bigger. And so when you're struggling with imposter syndrome, sometimes it's because you're looking at this huge lake to jump into, right? And you just have to jump off and get in there. But the first step is literally just taking a step forward and deciding to jump in. I think another thing with imposter syndrome is often imposter syndrome, you're comparing that first little step to someone else's end product who's been doing it their whole life. And so maybe releasing that pressure for your first thing to be at that level. Let it be the throwaway pancake.
Oh, I like that.
Let it suck.
Thanks for listening. New episodes drop every Thursday.